guys seen the rats and stuff yesterday? What you guys take on that?
Well, I feel like I've been purposefully avoiding it. I mean, as much as I can. Of course, I've seen like images and stuff and read a couple of things, but ultimately, I wouldn't be like searching. I haven't been like searching for news stories about it. Because I think all of the situations just are sad. So I kind of like trying to avoid them.
I just read a post this morning from someone that was on the front lines down there in Atlanta. And again, they said that the Atlanta authorities provoked the situation for the riots to
Because it was just protesting
start.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Like, it's a friendly protest, and they want to block off roads or whatever they doing in their protest. And if the authorities don't agree with it, they, try to enforce some type of law. But it is, they have the right to protest. So I feel like something might have happened that sparked the escalate of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, didn't they say in Minneapolis there's allegedly or rumored to have been an agent provocateur there too who set it off?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So shout
Well,
out to
even if they set it off, it's got crazily out of hand to the point where it's like these cities are burning down.
Well, can we rewind it a bit? Does anybody want to talk about how everything got started?
Yeah, as far as them not bringing it to justice.
Well, so there was a video circulating of a man in Minneapolis, George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
He was accused of giving a counterfeit $10 bill at a bank. And so they called the police on him. That's allegedly what happened. When the police got there, they pulled him out of his car and cuffed him and threw him to the ground. And the one police officer proceeded to hold him down by placing his knee on his neck. And
while there was two other officers on him.
While there were two other officers on him, as a result of that, George Floyd is now deceased. So, I did not see the video. I purposely avoided the video. I did see still images that really just like made me sick. So I couldn't like bring myself to look up the video and watch it. Did you guys watch the video?
Yeah. I watched it before I knew what it was. I watched it by mistake.
Okay.
It was like, it came on right after like, I want to say the lady with the dog. It was like, you know how like if you're on Facebook and you see a video and then after it's over, the next one pops up. So I didn't know what I was watching at first.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh.
I watched the video of that, and it was very traumatic.
Disturbing. It was disturbing.
Disturbing, traumatic. The audio, the people in the crowds, screaming to help him, trying to get him help. I just watched the video of the EMS, even the EMS people asking to help him, and they were denied access to him while he was still pinned down on the ground. So I watched all of it. So that's why my views and my opinions are so firm on the situation. If burning the police station down out there in rioting is what needed to happen for the charges to be brought finally 3 days after, then that's what needed to be that's what needed to happen. And for them to continue to riot, for the other officers to be brought to justice, because that's what they're fighting for now, for charges to be brought against the other officers as well. Because as we know, in the street, if you with somebody that committed a crime, y'all linked.
Yeah.
Y'all both charged,
Yeah,
y'all both
You're an
get both
accessory.
one down. So
You're an
they
accessory
are
just for
calling
being
for,
there.
right. So they're calling for the arrest of the other officers, and for them to be brought up on charges as well. So until that happens, they will probably continue to riot and protest, and if that's what they need to do, then do it. Kudos to them.
So what do y'all think about people saying that, oh, well, people don't need to tear up their own neighborhoods. It's not doing anything. All you're doing is causing more people to potentially die or get arrested. Like, what do you guys say to that?
I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but at this point, we seen what peaceful protest did. I hate to say it, but you seen what peaceful protest did. It don't do anything. Everything we did it for what Antoine. What's the little kid who got killed?
Antoine Rose.
Antoine Rose.
Yeah, we did it for him, but it's like, okay, that is cute, but at the end of the day, nothing can change. Nothing changes.
I feel like the peaceful protests are just like a pacifier or like a band-aid per se, because they'll give you a little bit so you can shut up or move on, or you know what I'm saying, back down or whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what you were protesting for, it didn't prevail. Your fight went unheard. Your fight fell on deaf ears. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like the peaceful protests, like, you know, what happened? Like, you know, little things happen, but then things quiet down. You know what I mean? So,
you know what I think? You know what I think the best thing for to happen was, and it's sad to say, but the pandemic, it made everybody sit down and slow down and have, like, there's nothing going on. So, like, this, we witnessed something like that. It's like the topic, so it got everybody outraged. Like, even white people's outraged. And once you get the right white people behind you, this can actually be something that can be changed. As far as like, there needs to be something to where cops are held accountable by
Right.
the law.
And that's one thing. That's definitely one thing I wanted to say. Shout out to our white brothers and sisters and other brothers and sisters of color who may not necessarily be black, who are standing with us in this fight for equality. You know what I mean? And who are allies in this fight. Because for change to come, we couldn't do it by ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So we do need allies in the fight.
Right.
I think that, like, a lot of times when we're angry, even though like we are not residents of Minneapolis, this isn't our relative per se, we feel it. We feel it on another level because we are black. But to know that people are there, and when we tend to talk about these things, we're angry, and a lot of our social media posts might have a certain tone to them. But one thing that we do want to specify is that we know all white people are not racist. So
right.
we are
To me, it don't have
of having allies.
To me, I'm not even. It's more so. It's the cop thing as far as the balance of power. To me, as far as, because I've been harassed by black cops. You know
it's two different fights.
It's two different fights. Now you want to talk about the KKK having people inside of the law? That's a different story. You know, he might have been a racist and all that, but as of just the balance of power that the police have, is that right there is, we need to change that.
That, and do you think that, because we talk about all cops are not bad, right? Mm-hmm. But do you think that this incident would be a catalyst for the quote unquote good cops to speak up, and when they see something, say something when they know somebody else is foul within the department.
But I feel like they need to be held accountable. Like you need to go down as an accessory if you ain't saying anything. Like I hate to say it.
And the police have a code too. They have a code, like the streets have a code.
So you
they got
go down too.
Like, no snitching code. When something foul happens in the streets, the police departments have that same no snitching clause within the department.
You got to RICO the cops. You know what I mean? They got to RICO the cops. You got to go down. You knew he was doing this. How many times he do this? And you was around. You going down too. Like it got to be like that. There ain't no such thing as good cops if you're sitting there letting your counterparts do shit like that.
Right. And that's what I wanted to say. Like it's two different fights. It's the authority. You know what I'm saying? Fight like you said, Tavi, and then the underlining is the racial thing. That never goes away. It has never gone away. And the abuse of authority. Like there's no way. And what's crazy about it now is that everybody is able to see it because of these cameras and these smartphones. Like everybody is able to see it. It's been happening. What happens to the cases that are not highly profile? Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't learn about Breonna until this till George Floyd. Like, you know what I'm saying? How they like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, that's happening in Louisville. Like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even know that. So it's just
about that.
Well, it's crazy. Another thing too is the I think the whole conversation around Kaepernick is being brought up. I seen that again I seen memes and posts talking about, okay, so everybody's so outspoken about calling Kaepernick taking a knee on the field to bring awareness to police brutality, but a lot of people are remaining silent when you see a knee on George Floyd's neck.
But that's exactly what about. That's why we was outraged about the Make America Great Again hats. Like what people don't realize is that there's an undertone to racism. When people bitch about Kaepernick, that's an undertone to racism to me. And
absolutely.
I feel like the Make America Great Again hats are an undertone for racism.
Absolutely.
Like, so the people that can't realize that now is they're just racist to me.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
Right.
I feel bad for Kaepernick. I feel real bad for him. Like, as far as for people to be acting like that over a knee, and then they're not even. Trump really talked about. He really talked about that George Floyd incident.
Had it been a Caucasian male who did what Kaepernick did, he would be famous right now. He would be famous, and it would be all types of laws and all types of shit changing because he was Caucasian and he took a knee against police brutality. I bet you they wouldn't have ousted him like they did Colin.
They would have him on Capitol
Hill. Is different.
They would have him on Capitol Hill doing the speech in front of Congress. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
yes.
It's weird. But we know we live in two different worlds. It's just we shouldn't be policed by the same people that police their world. We live in a totally different world than they do.
Right. Well, after watching the Jeffrey Epstein documentary, and
you seen the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing, and seeing how law enforcement works, but I've been seeing it, but like that shit was like, I don't trust none of them. I don't foresee anything changing as long as those types of people are in control and have the upper hand and have money, we're fucked. Sorry, but that's just
right. And this is But this goes back to a lot of the people in government too, as far as like that Epstein case. But then you could tie that into what happens as far as our policing and our criminal justice system. The bottom line, and this is why I'm so critical of Diddy saying he will hold the black vote hostage. No, you will not. We need to go out and vote.
Diddy ain't holding me fucking hostage. Who the hell he think he is?
I don't know.
Because even the way that Epstein had that DA in the back of his pocket.
Right. So here's the
Jeffrey
thing.
Epstein had judges. He had the mayors. He had the police departments. He had whoever.
He had the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
They were sweeping.
And the only person. But I wanted to say that to get those things changed, that's why it's so important to vote. People think that voting in, when the governors go up for election and those senators go up for election, like that shit is important. That shit is important.
It is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not mad at the looting and the rioting and stuff. We're angry. We've tried the peaceful. Well, they've tried the peaceful protest. I'm not a protester, but I stand in support of them.
Right.
But at the same time, they've tried peaceful protests in the past. Folks are angry, and we're tired of continuously seeing these things happen. So the fact that people are looting and rioting, I'm not mad at that. But also something to go hand in hand with the rioting and being upset and the protesting. Now we need to make sure we vote in each and every election, especially the local ones.
Yes.
The local ones.
Yes.
So, I mean.
Well, it looked like the white people are upset too. So I think there's going to end up being some type of laws or something getting changed.
Good.
Right, there should, but I think it's imperative for us to stress that it's important to keep the same energy when it comes to voting, because these elected officials, the representatives, the DAs, the judges, all that, like we have a direct impact on that. But
right,
you got people out here talking about they're not voting because of X, Y, and Z or whatever.
Yes.
Go out there and make your voice heard.
Mm-hmm. Period. So
another thing too is like, because I know people were saying, well, why would you want to destroy your community? And people had, I don't know if I want to say outrage, but they were saying that they disagreed with them burning down Target and AutoZone and stuff. But I was watching a clip from Tamika Mallory this morning, and I feel like she made a good point. Like, those are big companies. Where are they at standing with us in this fight for equality? Where they at? Y'all know that we Black people spend a lot, and from what I understand, we spend the most out of any demographic in the country. So with us being as big a consumers as we are, you would think that if something happens this detrimental to our community, these big companies would want to stand with us and say, I'm in support of ending police brutality, or we support y'all in this fight.
The CEO did. I shared a post this morning from the Target website. The CEO sent a letter to them, and they are standing with the people in St. Paul, and they are going to make sure that those 200 plus employees are still paid their money throughout this situation. They are going to rebuild, and they were asking, like, whatever needed to be done for them to do, they are willing to do that. So I purposely shared that because I seen a lot of people angry about people losing their jobs and, people just getting back to work because of COVID and, people having families. Like, we understand, all of that, especially the smaller, stores or whatever. But from what I seen, they destroyed like the CNN station down in Atlanta and the Target and the AutoZone and the police department. They got insurance. They gonna be all right. They gonna be okay. Thank God there wasn't no casualties. I think there was like one in Minneapolis, but as long as there's no casualties, then Target they're gonna rebuild. That's what they pay for insurance for.
And thank you for saying that, because that makes me really happy. And that gets me a little bit emotional, but I'm glad to hear that, and I will be happy to share that once we're done.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that, and then that's the thing I've been saying, like even on um, a lot of lawyers coming up saying that they'll, as long as you weren't into physical altercations and you got arrested during the riots and protests, they'll do it for free. You know what I mean? They put their
And I've
information on social media.
seen white celebrities stepping up
Yeah.
quietly. Like they getting a little bit of, people posting a little bit of whatever, but they are bailing out the protesters that's being locked up too.
Yeah.
Right, like two I heard of was what, Seth Rogen and Steve Carell.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's good. Colin Kaepernick wants to pay for lawyer fees for folks like.
And I know you were talking about Target standing by the people in Minnesota. So it was like the Timberwolves and I want to say the Vikings also. They like came out and said they're with the people as far as like standing behind whatever needs to be done. You know.
And
Right.
And this right now, even with you saying that kind of like pisses me off a little bit, because I feel like the NFL had a missed opportunity with Kaepernick. You know what I mean? He could have been some sort of ambassador for this type of stuff when it goes down. That would have been a great play for them. But instead, they like trying to hush people, shut them
It's
up.
gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard
blackballing
for Jay-Z to walk in that room, man.
Right.
It's gonna be hard for Jay-Z to walk in that meeting room with those white people.
I just said, all these people stepping up now, all these big companies and these big names, and I see in different cities like the chief of police, speaking out on behalf of their departments and things like that. I feel like it's all good now, but George Floyd is one of many. Eric Gardner couldn't breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like they beat the shit out of Rodney King on camera and got acquitted of all of those charges. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if something would have been done in those instances and the law enforcement was held accountable, I feel like there would be these instances that's happening now would be far and few between, because the law enforcement would know that they would have to be accountable for any stupid actions that they make out there.
I'm gonna tell you what's about to happen. They about to dude's about to be the sacrificial lamb. They're about to. No, that ain't good, because what's going to happen now is nothing's going to change. There's still going to be police brutality, but now guess what's going to happen? When they see you with that cell phone in your hand, that's going to be. They're going to get aggressive with the people trying to tape it now. I can guarantee you that. They ain't going to just be sitting up there letting you tape shit now. And like,
since they're public servants, you're allowed to tape them.
Yes.
You're allowed to, but
a lot of the videos that I've seen came from the body cam. Like they had on body cameras. Like the officers had on body cameras. So, I mean, when I watched it, because I watched the video, like I feel like before I knew the extent of what was really going on, I was just like, oh, like you said, I just watched this video or whatever. And immediately, whenever they were on him, you can't do that. Like on his stomach, on his back like that. And what did I tell you just to go on the phone like that? When people are trained in technical holds and points and stuff like that, they know how to kill you. They know exactly what will kill you.
Right.
Without even thinking twice about it.
Right. And another thing that I wanted to say too was, in each of our professions, because we are in the respective fields that we are in, we know more than the average consumer. Therefore, we are held to a higher standard. So with that being said, police need to be held to a higher standard. You are trained in de-escalation. So if you make a judgment call that's poor, you need to be held accountable to the highest degree,
like anybody else,
because you are trained. And
Right.
because you should know better.
Right.
They need to get these other three off the street. I'll say that much. They need to be held just as much as, well, not just as much, but they need to be held accountable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, hopefully they will enforce the charges on the other officers. I do know that the people who because it's been we missed a week, and a lot has happened in the week that we missed, because in another incident that happened just a week before that with Ahmaud Arbery, those jerks are still behind bars, and they actually arrested the guy who filmed the camera guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they were all in cahoots, and I feel like, you know what I'm saying, they should damn, I lost my train of thought. I feel like they're making a good example with that, because they were still locked up. They charged the cameraman. They're still, you know what I'm saying, and it happened.
Charged with a hate crime. They're going to get charged with a hate crime.
They absolutely should. That was a modern day lynching.
Absolutely. I feel like they're going to go to jail. And it's crazy because I just watched the Atlanta murder documentary that was out. Like, I just finished watching that like last month, and it was down there in that area. The GBI had everything to do with that. And in my heart, I feel like they owe us this one with that. Like, they need to go ahead and lock those guys up and throw away the key.
Now, the thing about this George Floyd one that's messed up is how the autopsy came back. It was kind of like the same thing that happened with Eric Gardner, how they tried to say he died from health issues.
Lies. And you know what? I'm the minute I heard it, I'm like, lies. Pure lies. And I can't wait until they have the independent medical examiner come in and do another autopsy.
Yeah, because I was about to say, if that turns out to be false information, that whole coroner group needs audited. Like, what else are y'all?
It's gonna be a mess.
I'm telling y'all right now. One thing about it is, all three of us, maybe a lot of the people in the United States, there's some sort of underlying issue that we have.
Right.
Something.
Right.
So if you put your knee on my neck, that potentially exacerbates that issue and causes me to die prematurely. I'm not hearing none of that. You killed that man.
Mm-hmm. So I seen that they had raised a lot of money for
like $2 million, right?
My advice to them, after, again, I'm gonna reference back to the Jeffrey Epstein documentary. I advise to them to use that money to get the creme de la creme of the lawyers, of the people who's going to look at that man's body, whereas though they cannot be corrupted, because there's all types of corruption in that, because they could say, okay, yeah, we're going to get an independent what are they called to do the autopsies or whatever, we're going to get an independent autopsy done. But it might be somebody that's already connected to them, so they're going to give them the same results. Like, you know what I'm saying? It might be independent, but not, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I heard that they was hiring it. I heard that they was hiring this a coroner or medical examiner from New York.
Medical examiner.
He's pretty famous for handling high-profile cases. That's what
I like the new Sarah Wet. I don't think he's doing it anymore.
We already know Sarah Wet is Pittsburgh. It's not him. It's some other guy I've seen him on TV shows before, but I can't remember his name.